Starting and growing a healthcare practice includes a wide variety of skills. These days, you need to know about computer networks and software technology and the reasonable safeguards to keep health information secure and your healthcare practice efficient. In this episode, I'm going to help you with voicemail system technology and voice over internet protocols, what you need to know to make good decisions to protect your healthcare practice. This is Jean Eaton, your practical privacy coach and practice management mentor with Information Managers. Now, just a reminder, I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one on TV. These are my recommendations based on my experience and research and not legal advice. I'm thinking about changing our voicemail system. And what should I consider to ensure our privacy and security risks? So voicemail is an old technology, but we've got some new things that we need to think about in our voicemail system. Now, did you know that voicemail systems can and actually are frequently hacked? So this is one of the ways that this scam works. A hacker calls into the voicemail system searching for mailboxes that don't have default passwords active or have easily to guess passwords like 123. So after they get into your voicemail system, then they can change the outgoing message because you haven't put any roadblocks in their way, so that if they call back, the operator will assume that this is a valid voicemail system or somebody validly speaking for the operator, and the hacker can charge long distance call to that voicemail system. So I've worked as a manager in hospitals, and in one hospital I worked at, I was the administrator for the telephone system and the voicemail system. And we had a software system that was applied as well, so that I was able to quickly identify when we had a whole bunch of outgoing international phone calls out of our voicemail system. And lo and behold, our system was hacked. So a voicemail system is software and that can be compromised just like any other types of software. So you need to make sure that you've got some good systems in place to protect your voicemail system from getting hacked. Now, you might get a variety of long distance charges being made from, in particular, international calls. Now, another version of the scam is when the hacker breaks into the administrator system and then they forward phone calls to an international number. And that way you get blocked out of your voicemail system, and the bad guy gets to make a number of long distance phone calls and charge your account. So one of the things that happens with these is because the hackers are changing the voicemail message, that this often happens during the holiday periods or weekends when people aren't paying attention to the messages that are on your voicemail system as an outgoing message. So this is a really timely message for you, is to make sure that you are changing your passwords for your voicemail system as both of the administrator and individuals. So if you have individuals that have access to the voicemail accounts, make sure that they change their passwords on a regular basis. So some tips to protect your voicemail passwords. Make sure you change the default passwords. This is such a big deal. Everybody who gets signed up to the telephone system that's native to your area all have passwords that are the same as the default passwords. So whether or not you're using TELUS or Shaw or Rogers or anybody else, they all have those same default passwords. So that is a huge risk to your voicemail system. Change those default passwords. Check your recorded announcements regularly and make sure that it is what you expected. It's your voice saying that you're accepting voicemail messages, or you're on holidays and are not accepting messages. So make sure that you use good passwords, that they're complex passwords, and you have an administrator who has a good password system as well. Block international calls. Most of us don't receive international calls, so you might want to block them. And that may be something that you have to make a decision on based on your clinic practices. Disable the unnecessary features. So if you're not using call forwarding for your voicemail message, then disable that feature. You reduce that risk. check your recorded announcements on a regular basis, and go back and check with your service provider about additional security procedures that they recommend for your voicemail system. Now, there are changes to our voicemail technology. So a lot of people are now using VoIP or considering using VoIP. So VoIP is a voice over internet protocol. So this is where your internet IP address is actually connected to your phone line number. So the people that are phoning your clinic dial a number on their telephone just like usual, but it actually gets connected to your computer network system. So this isn't the same as wireless telephones. So your wireless telephones has a landline system that you connect to, and you might use a wireless headset to actually listen to that, but it's not the same as VoIP. So the majority of the VoIP traffic is sent over the internet, and it's susceptible to hacking and fraudulent use, just like any other things in the computer network traffic. So some VoIP providers also provide voicemail systems. So you need to make sure that you've got reasonable safeguards for your VoIP system and the voicemail. Now, one of the things that you need to check for first is to make sure that your VoIP system is encrypted. So that may be something that you have to specifically ask for your service provider. And if you don't know if your VoIP system is encrypted or not, this is a great time to talk to your service provider and confirm whether or not it is. So there are a number of risks for your VoIP system. So above and beyond people hacking into your system and accessing the system for their long distance phone calls, they can also hack into your system to listen to the audio messages, which can be decoded and then have people listening to your phone calls. Now, there are two types of risks with this. One is you're a clinic, so you're likely going to have some sensitive healthcare information that is going to be on your voice system. So whether or not you've sent it to voicemail or onto your regular internet traffic on your telephone calls, you want to protect and make sure that it's safe and secure. Now, the other thing that is an emerging risk is our voices. So you are having more and more systems, like our banking systems, are actually recording our voices so that they can use it to authenticate that, yes, we have called the bank to request changes to our banking accounts. If somebody can hack into the voice system for your healthcare practice, they can actually record your voices, and then they can leverage that to hack other systems. Now, I'm not going to get into that as a whole today, but I do want to address some of the computer-related risks for your VoIP phone technologies. So make sure that you've got some good systems in place that is secure. And some tips to protect that security is firewall and intrusion prevention systems. So we've talked about firewalls on your computer networks. Make sure that it also applies to your VoIP system. So if you're not managing your VoIP system internally, make sure that you talk to your service provider. Make sure that there are firewall and intrusion prevention systems installed and updated recently. So we need to go back and make sure that our operating systems for our VoIP technology is updated on a regular basis. And how are you going to be informed about that? So you also want to have domain restrictions and multi-factor authentication. So this is even more than your strong password. You want to have multi-factor authentication on the administrator account to make sure that you've got the right person accessing this information. So whether or not it is somebody in your clinic or you've hired somebody to do this for you, make sure that you are using this really basic technology to make your voice system as secure as possible. Make sure that it's encrypted, perhaps it's using a virtual private network, and know where your data is located. So we're going to make the assumption that if you're working in a healthcare practice of some kind, somehow you are going to have sensitive, personally identifying health information being transmitted through your phone lines and for your voicemail system if you're using VoIP for your voicemail system. So it needs to be in Canada so that you can get an information manager agreement with your service provider where the data is being stored. So to me about your questions about information manager agreements. We've got a new blog post on our website, and you can also take a look at our latest download about text technology with patients to get some more information about information manager agreements. So just like knowing where your clinic data is maintained, you need to know that same level of information and detail about your VoIP and particularly your VoIP to voicemail systems. So you're not likely going to get an information manager agreement out of a US-based company. So make it easier on yourself and look for a Canadian-based company that's going to be able to help you with both your VoIP technology and your VoIP to voicemail technology. This is Jean Eaton, your practice management mentor and practical privacy coach. If you like this episode, please subscribe to this channel and add your honest feedback to the comments below, so that people who like what you like can find this podcast.